Okay, so here's another highly requested video here. This is, of course, the Xiaomi Mi Pad 5 Pro versus the all-new, the newest iPad, the iPad 9. Let's go ahead and jump in. All right, as always, let's go ahead and jump on the price breakdown. We're going to start off with the iPad 9 here. So if you want to pick up this iPad here, that's going to run you anywhere between $300 and $330 as of the shooting of this video here. And of course, if you want to buy the matching Apple Pencil first generation, that's going to run you about $100 for a grand total of between $400 and $430, depending on when and where you buy it from. Now, the Xiaomi Mi Pad 5 Pro price breakdown is actually kind of interesting. So bear with me here. So normally you would get it for roughly $395 if we just go based off the current conversion rate. So let's say roughly $400. But there is no global version available as of the shooting of this video, and we don't even know if there will ever be one. So if you do want to get your hands on this guy here, it should run you about $475 off of eBay. That's the only place where I find it that cheap. You know, you might be able to find something cheaper somewhere else, but on eBay, the cheapest right now is going to run you $475. And the Xiaomi Pen, assuming you want to go with that, you want to pick up one of those, it's going to run you $83 for a grand total of $558. And that's, of course, for the base model with 128 gigs. Remember, I mentioned earlier the iPad 9, 64 gigs for the base model, the Xiaomi Mi Pad 5 Pro, 128 gigs for the base model. But now that we've covered that, let's go ahead and jump on design now. Starting with the Mi Pad 5 Pro here, which is boasting an 11-inch IPS display, and you have this pretty sleek and modern looking tablet here. Pretty solid build too overall, with a premium feel to the touch. An actual pretty good reminder of the iPad Air 4 in terms of looks. Now, highlighting some of the pretty nice physical features on this tablet, we'll start off with the power button, which is a combo of a fingerprint sensor and also a power button. You have a quad speaker setup as opposed to the iPad where you only have two. So on here you have a quad speaker setup on the Xiaomi Mi Pad 5 Pro, but it actually has 8 speakers, and it's definitely louder than what you would have on the iPad 9, and the sound is fuller than what you have on the iPad 9. Very nice for entertainment. Then we have a standard port for charging, which is a USB Type-C, along with some additional features that are not so great about the Xiaomi Mi Pad 5 Pro is the fact that, you know, that standard port, the USB Type-C, cannot push out video signal. But then again, the iPad 9 doesn't either. You also do not have a headphone jack on this tablet, and also you cannot expand that internal storage. So that 128 gigs of internal storage that you buy, that's pretty much all you get. You won't be able to expand that. Now, going to the iPad 9 here, it's also a very, very familiar look, especially if you already know what the previous one looked like. It is boasting a 10.2 inches, also IPS Retina display here. Pretty solid build as well. And you also do have some pretty nice physical features, of course, starting off with the Touch ID button there. Super fast to unlock the tablet, and it's also pretty secure. You have a headphone jack on here, which is something that's disappearing on, you know, new generation tablets, but it's always nice to have. You also do have these pins here to connect to a keyboard. Now, some not so nice physical features here would be just the tablet overall design, right? It's just that old design with those pretty thick bezels, and you know, I do know that some people like it, but the vast majority of people are just hoping for this to be upgraded to the newer design of the rest of the iPads. Next here is the speakers location. You get 2 speakers at the bottom of the tablet here, but it doesn't really play well, especially for, like, you know, watching movies or like entertainment, you know, just playing games or whatever. It's really easy to just cover that side where you have the speakers, and you get almost no, well, maybe not almost no sound, but it muffles the sound. And the other not so great thing here is the fact that you have a non-standardized port here. So Apple decided to just stick with the Lightning port. So slow transfer, also non-expandable storage, as I mentioned with the iPad Pro. So it's the same here. 64 gigs of internal storage is 64 gigs of internal storage. Now let's go ahead and talk cameras here. Starting off with the Mi Pad 5 Pro, on the main camera module, what you have is a 13 megapixel main sensor along with a 5 megapixel depth sensor, and that, you know, the main camera can shoot up to 4K at 30 frames per second, whereas the iPad 9, on the iPad 9, you have an 8 megapixel main camera on the back there that can only do 1080 at 30 frames per second. So the Mi Pad 5 Pro definitely has a better main camera specifically. Now the front camera is a completely different story. The Mi Pad 5 Pro is pushing an 8 megapixel selfie camera, whereas the iPad 9 is actually pushing a 12 megapixel ultra wide sensor, and picture quality is way better on the iPad front facing camera. Additionally, it does have a flagship feature, which is center stage, of course, and this thing enhances your video call experience. So just fantastic for video calls and connecting with family and friends or even co-workers. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk display now, starting off with the Mi Pad 5 Pro. As I mentioned, it is an 11 inches IPS display with a resolution of 2560 by 1600. It also does support HDR10, Dolby Vision. Image quality is pretty sharp here, and you also do have a support for 120 Hz refresh rate, which is not available obviously on the iPad 9. But like I mentioned, very sharp image quality, great saturation level. The iPad 9 on the other hand is pushing a 10.2 inches Retina IPS display here, and the resolution on this one is 1620 by 2160, and it's a fairly bright display. Also, it can go up to 500 nits, whereas on the Mi Pad 5 Pro it could go up to 485 nits. Now, not a huge difference, but the thing is, it actually plays a major role on the Mi Pad 5 Pro because it makes picture quality, because it's toned down a little bit, picture quality seem even sharper than it already is, right? So it actually plays to the advantage of the Mi Pad 5 Pro. Not only that, obviously, I just gave you the resolution, the different resolutions of both tablets there, and based off of just the PPI count, it definitely looks sharper than what you would find on the iPad 9 here, and it is a laminated display, right? Remember, the iPad 9 has a non-laminated display, so entertainment, gaming, anything you do, navigation, it's always going to feel better, you know, in terms of user experience on the Mi Pad 5 Pro. And by the way, if this is your first time visiting, welcome to the channel. Of course, I'm certainly hoping that you like the content so far. If you do, please do me a favor, hit both the like and the subscribe button there. I truly appreciate that. Now, I just mentioned user experience, so why don't we go ahead and talk, you know, performance, user experience, and again, starting with the Mi Pad 5 Pro, it is boasting a pretty high processing power here. You know, it's a pretty powerful chipset. It's a Snapdragon 870. It's coupled with 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of internal storage, like I mentioned, non-expandable. It's also running MiUI 12.5.2, and it flows pretty nicely. The iPad 9, on the other hand, is running an A13 Bionic chip. It is coupled with 3 gigs of RAM. It also has 64 gigs of internal storage for the base model. Also non-expandable, it is running, of course, iPad OS 15. And as always, it is super fluid. Both tablets are actually pretty nice for gaming, and they do offer excellent performance. So your day-to-day tasks, light, medium, heavy tasks, you will be fine, especially with the Mi Pad 5 Pro. Plus, the 6 gigs you get on the Mi Pad 5 Pro actually gives you a little bit more room to, you know, a little bit more breathing room when it comes down to just toggling between a multitude of apps, right? So it's really nice to have, it's pretty much double the RAM that you would get on the iPad 9 there. And that also, you know, to people who are artists, it would also tell you that if you're using an app like Procreate or anything art related or drawing related, it gives you, you know, having such a high amount, well, double the amount of RAM, it gives you a lot more breathing room in terms of just the amount of layers that you would get with something like Procreate, right? I also do find the Mi Pad Pro to be, you know, kind of snappier, and the 120 Hz refresh rate just really improves the user experience. The overall user experience on the Mi Pad 5 Pro, in my personal experience, you know, is better than what you would find on the iPad 9. But again, that's just my personal take. You know, you have to take into account all of the extra specs that it has, that especially that 120 Hz that you have on the Mi Pad 5 Pro that you don't have on the iPad 9 there. It truly plays a major role. Now, both tablets do support styluses, like I mentioned at the beginning. And like I've said before, unfortunately, I still haven't gotten a chance to play with that pen. I've ordered it. Still waiting. It's coming out of China. I don't know. Maybe the seller just scammed me, but I'm still waiting. As soon as I get that, I'm going to test it out. The iPad 9, you know, supports the Apple Pencil first generation, and the experience on it, the overall user experience, it's, you know, it's been the same as decent. It's pretty good, actually. You could do quite a few things with it, you know, whether it's taking down notes or drawing. Unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of the user experience on it because the screen is non-laminated, and not only that, the plastic tip of the Apple Pencil first gen, you know, make that tapping sound, and it gets annoying. Both tablets offer fantastic value, but as always, it's going to come down to what you are looking for, what you want a tablet for, right? If you are looking for a top-level Android tablet that offers flagship specs then the Mi Pad 5 Pro, in this case, comparing the Mi Pad 5 Pro to the iPad 9, then the Mi Pad 5 Pro would be the way to go, right? Because it's something that would just power through all the tasks, all task levels, including gaming, fantastic entertainment experience. And let's not forget, the design alone is, something to really keep in mind. It's a very modern looking tablet when compared to the iPad 9. Now, on the other hand, if you're looking for something that will last a long time, right? That will be supported for at least 5 years. That's a very long time. The iPad 9 would be the way to go, right? Or if you're looking for something that offers top level video calling, the iPad 9 is definitely going to cover that using that flagship feature, which is the center stage feature. And it really does improve user experience when it comes to video calls, right? So something to keep in mind. And also, if you are looking for an Apple device that is very well priced, this is one of the few devices that Apple has priced correctly, right? So you still get that same user experience. Or if you just want to solidify, some level of continuity that you already have with the Apple ecosystem, let's say you have an iPhone or, Apple Watch, whatever the case may be, if you just want to solidify that continuity, then the iPad would be the way to go. But anyway, I'm certainly hoping that you found this informative. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to share the video if you know anyone who'd be interested. I'm going to catch you in the comment section. I'm also going to catch you in the next video. And up until that next video, of course, as always, stay safe out there.